Hi there, welcome to Facilitating on Purpose. I'm your host, Beth Cougler Blom. Thanks for choosing to spend some time with me and my guest today. In this episode, I'm really pleased to bring you Guillaume Vermette. Guillaume is both a humanitarian clown and a therapeutic clown. He came across my purview somehow, and I interviewed him. This is a bit of a different one for the podcast. I interviewed him actually many months ago in the middle of 2024. And when I'm recording this intro now, it's April of 2025. I sat on this for a little while because I actually interviewed Guillaume for another project that has sort of benignly stalled. But I didn't want to lose the information from his interview. I didn't want to just sit on the things that he shared with me in the conversation because I want all facilitators to hear what he had to say. I have this side, or maybe burgeoning, not so side anymore, interest in looking around at different fields and trying to think about what we can learn from them in order to apply it back to our work, facilitating learning or facilitating meetings. For a long time, I've been thinking about clowning, the profession of clowning, and how clowning is used in different ways. And I came across Guillaume, and he seemed like a dynamic, interesting individual, which you will hear he absolutely is, and invited him to have this conversation with me on the podcast, which is what he did. I'll warn you right now that I don't even think I mentioned the word facilitation in this episode. We really focused on clowning itself, but I want you to listen at two levels here. When you hear Guillaume talk about clowning, I want you to think, what can I learn from that for facilitation? So even though we're not really talking about facilitation, there is much to learn for our practice and our line of work. I hope you enjoy the episode. This is Guillaume Vermette, Lessons from a Therapeutic Clown. Enjoy the show. So I thought I could start by just asking you generally about what you do. What's the nature of your work?
I'm a humanitarian clown since 18 years. I've worked in more than 40 countries. It's quite challenging to explain in a brief way what is a humanitarian clown. There's no word in the dictionary to describe what I do. And any job can be humanitarian. Like you could be a humanitarian accountant, a humanitarian teacher, and there's many ways to do it by itself. So I think I should start by explaining what is a clown.
Okay.
Because that word is misunderstood, full of stereotype and prejudice. But and there's many ways to view it. I'm just going to tell you what's my point of view on clowning. I went to clown school in Montreal. I studied clowning, and clowning, in my opinion, is not funny, is not for kids, and a clown costume doesn't exist.
Yeah. Okay.
It can be funny, it can be for kids, and it can wear a costume, but this is not important. This is not essential. Clowning is just a type of theater. It's a specialty in the theater field called physical theater. We use less word, more movement, more face expression, and most of all, we look at the public directly in the eyes. There's no fourth wall. My goal when I'm clowning is not to be funny, is not to be interesting. It's only to create a human connection with the public. It's an emotional conversation. And I also studied psychology. So I mix all these knowledges, interest, passion, etc., to try to, bring a little drop of difference in an ocean of problem on the planet. Therapeutical clowning, it's working in duo, two therapeutical clowns together, and healthcare facilities. If I had to choose one word of all the words, it's one that almost nobody uses, is a clown relationnel, relational clown, human connection clown, something like that. But these words exist, and it's not only my opinion that matters, I'm part of a community doing this kind of work. So I follow the group. Therapeutical clowning is the word that the Western world has been using a lot for clowns going in hospital. Let's keep it simple that instead of using clowning as a tool for connecting with people or as a levier d'intervention, it's an expression in French like that. It's the tool you use to contribute to people's well-being.
As you're preparing, you said you work in pairs for this as well. So you never work alone. You always work in pairs. Why is that? And how do you work to prepare together?
Having more people is rich. It's having more opportunity to connect with the people, with the people we're trying to connect with. But bringing more than two will be overwhelming and too much, because it's a lot about authenticity. Clowning is, and that's, I didn't explain in deep what is clowning, but it's based on 5 qualities or attributes. Way more stuff than that. We teach clowning for weeks just as an introduction, but those 5 points are really important to practice and to nourish to be a good clown. And I also think to be a good human, but that's a personal opinion. So there's authenticity, openness, simplicity, légèreté, like lightness,
maybe lightheartedness or something.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm forgetting one, joy. So I said authenticity. So we don't create a clown character. We don't choose. You don't get to clown school like, hey, this is a clown I'm gonna be. No, I'm sorry. You are gonna be your actual flaws that you have as a human being. That stuff that make you stand out of a crowd in 1 second, that we can laugh about, that we can connect to, that makes you human and perfectly imperfect. So you have to discover these aspects of yourself. You have to accept them enough that you can love them, to share them with the public, so you laugh about them with you and not laugh at you. So the reason I'm explaining that with nursing home is that some people don't like you, and it's okay. Some people don't want to connect with what you actually are, and it's okay. So if you have 2 person, it's double the chances of connecting with the person. But it's very intimate what we do in nursing homes. It's very intimate and sweet. We knock on the door. Hello, Madame Smith. We're happy to see you. We just want to wish you a beautiful day. Can we come in? Yes, we go in. That's it. There's no scenario. There's no show. There's nothing rehearsed. That's the only thing that is repeating itself, is the like, hi, we're happy to see you. Sometimes somebody doesn't want to see me, maybe, or doesn't like me for some reason, or is having a bad day, or I don't know, I remind him of his brother-in-law that he hates. So maybe it doesn't work with me, but it's going to work with my partner. So you can have a good, a nice connection with a partner. I can step back, and it's okay if I'm useless. We are useful as a team. I step back, and they're having a beautiful moment. I still contribute to that moment.
Let me ask you, how do you know, what signs do you get that someone doesn't want to connect with you and might want to connect with another? Like, what are you seeing?
Well, one that is very clear that we get sometimes is, fuck you, go away.
Okay, it's quite obvious.
That does happen. Like, let's not forget that 80% of the people living in CHSLD, the type of nursing home, the public system, they have perte neurocognitive. They have neurocognitive problems, dementia, for example, Alzheimer. There's all sort of problems. So their brain is different. Their way of interacting and communicating is different, and that's one of the reasons why therapeutical clowning works so well, because we use a different path of the neurons and the brain through emotion, and sometimes we can connect with people that nobody else is able to connect. But also sometimes their emotion are intense, they are weird, surprising. It can be a lot of anger. So we get these kind of reactions sometimes, but sometimes they're not able to say that they don't want to see us. So the main skill required to be a good therapeutical clown is listening. The listening skills. We have to listen to everything, to my own emotion, how I'm in my body and my emotion, how is my partner is doing, how the space, the other people working in there to not disturb their work, the person in front of us, the words, but mostly the non-verbal signs, the eyes, and sometimes the physicality is telling you you're not welcome. It's never a perfect science. Sometimes we make mistake, not big mistake. We try and we learn, oh, when this person is doing that, it means she's not happy or she's happy. So we learn with time. We go see the same people every week in the same CHSLD, so we really get to connect with them and learn about them. And we don't go there thinking we're going to make them laugh. We go there thinking we're going to contribute to their well-being, and we're going to forget everything we know about them from the last weeks.
Oh, you do?
As much
Oh,
as we can. As much
okay.
we still keep these information that can be useful, but because of situation like dementia, the reality right now, here and now, can be so different than 5 minutes ago. So I have to concentrate on here and now, and listen. And sometimes what they need is to express emotion like sadness and anger, and we can just welcome these emotion and be positive or sane, exutory. I'm not sure it's an English word. A way to concentrate this emotion in a positive or a sane way to express it. Maybe they feel trapped. They feel trapped in the nursing home, and they kind of feel the need to de s'évader, to evade themselves. So maybe we're going to go in stories or imagination. Maybe they need to move. They're stuck in a wheelchair, so we're going to dance how we can with the fingers or something like that. Maybe they actually need to laugh and just have fun, and we're going to try to make them laugh and have fun with them. But it's just about a genuine, authentic connection with them. And it's beautiful. It's so sweet. And often it's just holding a hand, kneeling down, saying, "Hi, Madam Smith, I'm so happy to see you. I love you." And you say that on repeat for 15 minutes and bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah. You said it's quite intimate. I can see how it can be, because in some cases you're actually going into their room, their personal room at the facility. And maybe other times you're in more of a public space.
As much as we can, we go in the room.
Okay. Does it change the experience being in their space?
Yeah, they're more vulnerable, they're more authentic, they're more open than if there's other people watching around. It's create a deeper connection, I will say. And for us, their room is not their room, it's their house.
Yeah.
We consider it their house. We knock. We don't sit on the bed. We ask permission if we really have to do, but you don't go in somebody's room and somebody's house, I mean, without knocking, and you go sit on their bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's sacred. It's their space. It's their house. And we call the corridor the main street, and we call the other people living there their neighbors. Just bringing these words can influence our posture. And we're the only people, except some family members sometimes, that come here just for fun. That's like, "Hi, I'm happy to see you." Like there's no medical treatment, there's no power position, there's no expectation, except, "Hey, we're here for you for whatever you need. If you don't want to see us, we go by. But if you want, what do you want? Let's do it together." And we don't wear clown costume, by the way.
I was just going to say, do they know you're clowns? Like, do you say, "Hey, we're therapeutic clowns," or "We're clowns," or do you just come in as people who use clown techniques?
Well, we do have a clown techniques, and we wear the clown nose. The clown nose is considered a theatrical mask, the smallest of the mask. A mask has the purpose of hiding your face to show something else. The clown nose has the purpose of revealing more who you are and revealing more your emotion. It brings all the focus on this big red dot in the middle of your face where all the emotion happen. And we don't have to use red nose and CHSLD, but it's useful because a lot of them are blind or partially blind, and it helps them to focus on our face and see us, and it allows us to do more. Like it's clear for them, oh, they're clowns. Oh, it's not serious. Or they're just clowns, so their defense go down. We want to be, as clowns, the last layer of the hierarchy of human society. It's like, as the less we have credibility, the more people defense will go down. It's like a superpower, having no credibility. So we wear just a clown nose, and our outfits are actual human clothes that people will wear in the 30s. 40s, 50s, like their period of time of the elderlies we meet. So we do everything in our power to contribute to their well-being, including what we wear. We use the same rigor, professionalism, and preparation that we would for a big show and Cirque du Soleil or whatever. This public deserves the same professionalism and dignity than any other public, and respect. So real human clothes from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. And I said earlier that listening is the main skills needed. I think it's interesting for you to know that 2 clowns of our therapeutical clown team, we're 14, I believe, right now. 2 of them are fully deaf.
Wow.
Fully deaf. And I think they have amazing listening skills. I think deaf people usually have best listening skill than non-deaf people. It's so easy to forget. And I even struggle to believe that fact that 93% of communication is nonverbal. Even as a therapeutical clown, I still struggle to understand fully that concept. 93% of communication is nonverbal.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And for us non-deaf people, it's easy to forget. It's easy. We hide behind words all the time. But deaf people, they have no other choices than to focus on the nonverbal aspect of it to survive, to function in society. So they overly aware of their space and listening to other people, nonverbal communication, to their emotion, other people emotion. They're overly aware. They have great listening skills, and it makes them amazing therapeutical clown.
I can see that. And you're working in a pair. So maybe a deaf person and a non-deaf person are working together. So they would lip read, or would they be using sign language? Or
Well, clowning is mostly nonverbal, so it fits well. Sometimes it's like I will work with Jérôme, for example, who's a deaf person, and I know some sign language so I can translate. But sometimes there are two deaf people together, and sometimes it's one deaf and one non-deaf that know nothing of sign language. And
yeah. And it works still.
it works.
Yeah.
It has some challenges, but we figure it out. And because of that, sometimes they will have more success than us because they rely less on words, and we have this tendency to go in words too quickly than non-deaf people. And also, there's one nursing home we go in Montreal every week that has a corridor with only deaf people. So we have two deaf clowns that go doing therapeutical clowning for deaf people once a week. And I think that's unique in the world, in the therapeutical clowning world. I never heard of that before. And we're really proud of that. It's very meaningful.
I love that. And it sounds like you actually learn a lot from each other as well, working together. Yeah. The skills they have. Actually, I was just at a Island Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center, and they said the same about deaf people who are deaf on the job site, like a construction site. And you would think, oh, that would be dangerous, or they, think maybe safety is an issue. No, actually, they said, well, deaf people, because they can't hear, they often see a lot more visual cues or clues than that can avoid mistakes, right?
I'm not surprised.
Accidents. Yeah. So you're similar thing. Like they see so much more because they don't hear, and we get lazy as hearing people. Anyway, that's what they were saying.
Yes, definitely.
Let's go back to the preparation. So you said something about how you try to forget what you've heard before when you're working with the person in their room. So whether you've seen that person or not before, what are you doing to prepare in the days leading up to that experience, in the hours or minutes leading up? Like, what are some of those? You mentioned it's a professional practice, basically. How do you prepare with yourself or with the other person you're going in with?
I think I'm going to start by the training bit of it, because we're all trained in first clown theater, but then in therapeutical clown, the approach, the method, the challenges, the issues. We all had training in that before we start. And then before I go there, I have to be, or I say hi, but we have to make sure that we are emotionally available for it. Physically and emotionally available. It is exhausting. It is demanding, emotionally and physically. It's a roller coaster of emotion and events you go through, every door you go. So if I'm not in a good emotional or physical state, I have to cancel and get replaced by somebody else. There's that. And when we get there, we arrive earlier. We arrive in costume already. It has to be neat because of hygiene and vulnerable people. And also to be fancy and beautiful for them.
Nice. Yeah.
Of course.
Respect. Right?
Yeah. And then we get there. We're already in costume. We're half an hour before it starts. For some reason, one of the reasons is to take the time as a duo to say hi. Like, how are you today? How are you feeling? What's up? Because you need a lot of trust and a good emotional connection between you and yourself, but between you and your partner for this job to be efficient and to work well. And also to talk with the people working in the CHSLD. Hey, what's happening today? How is it going in the sessions? Is there some issues we should know about? Is this person dying? Is this person sick, etc.? We have all sort of information coming to us, like, oh, you should go see this lady because she had no visit for 1 month or 2 months, and like, so we gather information, but now we can have this kind of interaction with some CHSLD because they understand our work and we've been there for many years. But in a new place, it's not like that. Like, people don't understand nothing of clowning, so even more of therapeutical clowning. They think we're just there like birthday clowns to make people laugh, and so they see us arrive and they be like, "Oh, don't go see this this man, he's very angry, he's upset today." Like, if you tell me he's upset, it's a good reason for me to go see it. That's why I'm going to see him. That's what I work with. Or like, don't go see this person is dying. Like, well, I'm gonna try if the family is open and welcome me, and I'm gonna be very sweet, and it's a huge privilege to share the last moment of somebody's life and to be welcome there. And I think that can be celebrated in a positive and joyful way if the family is comfortable with. So the preparation will be that, and once we get there, we have to stop in front of every room. We have the name of the person beside the room. Okay, it's Miss Smith or whatever, and I will recall what I know about this person, because sometimes there's very important information that will influence so much my interaction. For example, oh, this person is fully blind. This person has an injury on his knee. If I touch there, I cannot touch this person there. Or like, oh, this one has a tendency to be grabby with women. I will go first, and my partner, that is a woman, will wait for now. Oh, this person, I don't know, has a very, a very adult sense of humor, or this person a very childish sense of humor. So maybe at some point I will try to go in this direction, but it has to be very flexible and not to take it for granted. Because I could get in the room and start with a joke about vodka, because I know usually this man is always offering invisible vodka shot to everybody. That's an actual story. But if I arrive and already I propose something, it forbids the possibility that something else comes out of him. It has to come from him as much as possible. So, hi, I'm happy to see you. And you see what happened from there. And if nothing happens, it's okay. It's not a problem. Just be there.
Would you say you're more reactive then to things happening? You're not necessarily like you're not trying to drive the conversation or drive the experience. Like, I'm kind of just using my hand to like point at you if people are listening to this, but so you're reacting and choosing
as much as possible. Yeah. They are the director of our show. They are in charge. We are at their service. It comes from them and we bounce on it, with some exception, because we work with people with neurocognitive problems, and some of them we have fixation on very specific subject or stuff that sometimes brings negative emotion to them, like anger or sadness. For some reason, their brain can be stuck on one event in their life, or something that never happened and they think is happening right now. And I could give you an example. There was this man. When I get there, he's very angry. He's having a fight with a nurse. He's upset. Like, there's three kids. They're homeless. They need food. They need clothes. We have to help them right now. And the nurse is like, no, stop. There's nobody. And there's a big fight. So I interrupted the fight and just started to walk with that guy that I always have walk with him. When I go there, he loves to walk. So our job, we try to never say no. Never say no to anything. But right now it's bringing him a lot of pain. It's bringing him a lot of pain. So I would say yes, but I will validate what is going through, but trying to bring the focus somewhere else. And this one was quite easy to bring the focus to somewhere else. It was a solution to his problem. So it was like, there's three kids, they're homeless, they have no clothes, they need food and clothes. They're like, yeah, you're right. But don't worry. I gave them clothes. I gave them food. Now they are right. Huh? Really? Yeah. Okay. There's 3 kids. They need food. They need clothes. Don't worry. You're right. You're right. I gave them clothes. I gave them food. They are right now. Okay. There's 3 kids. And repeat for 1 hour. You will just repeat that, and I will repeat the exact same answer. And with time, there will be more time in between each time you repeat it. And at the end, it will be over. But sometimes it's about you say yes to something, or you use a word she's using, but to bring the focus somewhere totally else. Like, hey, wow, the sun is beautiful. Or the frames with their family. Like, wow, is that your son? We try to bring the focus somewhere else because what they're focusing on is having a big negative impact on them.
How do you take care of yourself? I mean, you mentioned it's difficult work. It's hard. Sometimes you realize you can't go that day because you're not ready for it. But, the days that you are and it happens, and I don't know, do you do things afterwards or during to take care of yourself? It's very emotional for you.
I'll call it depression.
Yeah. I hope
No,
not.
I'm joking. It is not for everybody. This kind of job, one of the reasons is that we meet people that died constantly. Like you get attached to people that die because it's normal to die at this age, and this kind of institution, it's the end of their life. It's one of the reasons we work as a team. Like 2 by 2 is we can take the time to express our emotion and be there for one and the other. And we're part of a bigger team of 14 therapeutical clowns that meet every month all together, where we continue training together, but also if something happen that needs to be shared to the team, we take the time to do it. Sometimes it's emotion, sometimes it's difficult cases, let's call it that way, and we exchange tips and advice. It's very important that we are a team and we share, and that you respect your limit. When it's too much, you stop. Somebody else is going to do the work for a while. We provide the organization therapeutical help, the psychologist services when any of us need for any reason. And I think it's kind of needed. Like, to be a therapeutical clown, you have to take care of yourself. You have to have healthy habits in your life. It's therapeutical for you mainly.
Is it part of the draw of doing that work? Like, it helps you in some way too?
Well, the part that is inevitable is that if you want to be a clown, with this kind of approach, you have to learn about yourself and accept it. So just that, you're digging and your vulnerabilities and your pain sometime and your past. Just, this is who I am and this is how I'm going to use it as a clown. It feels like we're naked, emotionally naked as clown. So just that is very therapeutical. And if you want to have a good connection, you want to be successful, you need a good connection with yourself, with your partner, with the others. So you have to be available and ready for that. So it's kind of inevitable that you have to nourish good habit to make it possible. In my experience, therapeutical clowns are very attracting people in their everyday life. Attracting in the sense that it feels good to be around them. It's like it feels like they're feeling good with themselves. And they're not necessarily funny in the sense of a stand-up comic guy. But they're fun. They're fun to be around. They're open. They're lighthearted. The 5 point I said earlier.
I was just thinking of that. Like, it's about being a human being, really, isn't it?
Yeah. To be good at connecting with other people. So that's therapeutical for me.
Yeah. It feels like you have to be so strong, like you're an inner strength or stability or something there. Like, that helps you do your work, maybe.
Yeah, and just about the posture, like, it's very physical. I've been talking about a lot about emotion, but the physicality of clown also, it becomes like an habit, and in your everyday life, if somebody speak to me, listening position, looking in the eyes, like, I've been trained for that.
Yeah. It's hard on Zoom because, we have to kind of,
of course,
figure out where the camera is, don't we? And you can't look in the eye as much, but yeah. What about, are there mistakes that you can make where you can see it in your partner maybe, or you can see it in yourself, like, and you go, that I should not have done that, or that's a trap you can fall into? Anything coming up there?
There's some mistakes. There's thousands of traps because it's never perfect. The more I learn about it, the more I do therapeutical clown, the less I do. The more I realize less is more, and just being there and the 5 points I named earlier is enough. Just connecting with the person. I don't need to do anything. I just need to do less to be more. Yeah, and I think it's the same for most of us. Like with years, we're more comfortable with nothing happening and just looking in the eyes and the joy. I'm happy to see you. And there's nothing happening. And new clowns are like, I have to be funny. I have to fill the void because this is what the society teach us, these are more like improvement. There's a lot of traps, but mistakes, there's a few that are possible. One, a very common one that is a small mistake, it's not like a huge problem, is, hi, how are you? Clowning is not about being polite, it's about being authentic. We spend a lot of time being polite instead of being nice in society.
Yes.
There's no place for that in clowning. We hide the fact that we're not nice with politeness. But clowning is offering, proposing something authentic and joyful and nice. Like, hi, I'm happy to see you. It's honest. I'm really happy to see you. I have to feel it. Not, hi, how are you? I'm fine, and you? Yeah, good. Okay, bye. We don't even know why we say that. It's automatic. It's like an habit in our culture. But there's many reasons why we shouldn't say that and say HSLD. First, often it's not really authentic. We don't really think that's not why we're here. Second, a lot of them don't know if they're doing well because they're confused, and some really don't feel well, and we're influencing them to focus on the negative aspect of it by, how are you? Bad. Oh shit.
Yeah. Crash and burn right away.
And when you ask question, you orientate the conversation. You have some kind of power with a question. It's a small power, but you have some power. We want it to come from them as much as possible. But I think when you ask a question, you are in some kind of position of power necessarily. You decide and orientate at least a little bit the conversation or where it's going. And we want the less power possible and give them as much power possible. We will ask some questions sometime. We try to avoid it as much as possible. It comes from them and a subject they bring, and maybe we know they can speak, they can understand. Okay, we'll bring a question that empower them.
Oh, so you try not to ask questions. So you would make statements.
Yes.
Always.
Something honest coming from me that I offer. Wow, I will be impressed by what I see. Wow, that's amazing. Instead of, we will not ask them about their story. We will not ask them about what they like, etc. We have to guess it, to listen. And if somebody, I don't know, let's give a specific example. Somebody will say, oh, I was working in the farm when I was a young boy like you. I don't know, something like that. Maybe it's an opportunity, instead of asking a question, oh, did you have pigs or something like that? Like, oh, I love pigs. Like, you just need to say it. And then, and it's not so much about what you say and what you do, but more about the emotion that comes out of it. Because let's remember, at the base of everything, it's an emotional connection. And clowning, what you do is not important. It's how you do it, and how is by being yourself.
You said honest, so that
yes.
you're not, it's not theater. You're not making it up. You're being honest about the things that you say in that moment.
It's theater in the sense that it's a theatrical technique, and I'm only a clown actor. I've not trained in typical theater, but from what I understand from typical theater, there's a lot in common in the sense, if you're a good actor, you're not supposed to pretend. You're supposed to like open doors inside yourself, to allow yourself to go in these places instead of pretending.
Yeah. How do you think people could dip their toe into learning about what you do? Like, is there something that people can just try, experience? Can they see you in action in the work that you do? It seems very private. Like, it's hard to see you doing this work.
Yes.
How do people learn a little bit about it?
Well, the clowning bit is more available because there's a lot of clown schools, clown workshops. I'm training all around the world and all around Canada. The therapeutical clowning is more difficult, maybe on video. Like sometimes we will have a newbie following us and watching from far away, or a reporter, but they have to be so subtle because a fly and the space is a lot. It's an event by itself, so it's almost impossible to not be noticed by them, and it influence necessarily the connection because they might be less inclined to open, to be vulnerable when they know a stranger is there. So it's difficult, but we give therapeutical clown initiation classes, training, because a lot of people are curious about it, because a lot of people want to learn it, not necessarily to become therapeutical clowning, but because all this approach has so much to contribute in your personal life, but in some other professional fields also. This attitude and these principles of a therapeutical clown can contribute so much. So we give this class. I give it with a partner called Fred, where people don't need any experience. They come, we give them the basic of clowning and on fast forward, and then the basic of therapeutical clowning. And at the end, the last day, we bring them in a CHSLD, in a nursing home, so they can try it with supervision of professional being around just in case. And most of the time, it's a powerful experience and sometimes life-changing experience for some people. They like burst into tears at the end, and there's a lot. It's a mix of emotion. It's realizing how bad is the situation. I think that's a humanitarian crisis, the CHSLD system in Quebec. That's a word I use. I think people are dying of loneliness, and I think Quebec is the world champion of systemic ageism.
Yeah, ageism.
Ageism, sorry, difficult for me to say. Well, from all the countries I've seen and all the places in the world, I think we're the champions. So our nursing home buys out. So there's a shock just going there for the first time for many people. And then it's realizing I have so much to offer and I can have a great impact just by being myself. And I don't need to do nothing almost. So it's like, it kind of break the matrix. After they're a bit confused, they're like, they need time, and sometimes they come back for classes that is more advanced. They realize a lot about themselves often doing this.
Yeah, I can see that. Very introspective work. Yeah, lots of self-awareness there for sure, it seems like. Wow. Oh my gosh. I could keep just talking with you for hours. What a gift. What a wonderful job you appear to have, just knowing a little bit about it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Thank you for your interest into it.
Oh, it was such a gift to be able to sit down with Guillaume and hear about his work as a therapeutic clown. You heard him start off saying that he is also a humanitarian clown. And honestly, we spent so much time really digging into the therapeutic side of his clowning work that we never got to circle back to talk about the humanitarian side of his clowning. And I'd love to know more about that in the future. But the richness that he shared with me and all of us around his therapeutic clowning work can give us a lot to think about in terms of our work as facilitators, working with individuals or working with groups. I mean, he talked about nonverbal signs. He talked about having and dealing with emotions, sometimes intense emotions. He talked about listening skills. He talked about taking care of yourself in the work. He talked about movement and how humor plays into his work and so much more. Really, it came down to authentically trying to connect with another person or persons when they go and visit people in these long-term care facilities. So again, I hope you listen to this episode not thinking you're going to be a therapeutic clown, but that there are skills there that we can learn from people such as Guillaume and his colleagues, that we can absolutely turn back on ourselves and think about whether we are doing that in our work for the benefit of ourselves and our participants. One of the most interesting comments I think he shared with me was that his colleague who is deaf actually could be better at his job than Guillaume is, who is not deaf and an abled hearing individual. And that just tells me that the skill of listening doesn't need ears, and the skill of connection doesn't need talking. There's so much in that one tiny story that we can learn and take forward and enhance our work with that. Again, I'd like to thank Guillaume Vermette for coming on the show and chatting with me about his very worthwhile work, and I hope you benefited from it as well. On the next episode of the podcast, I talk with Leanne Joe and Amia Wilbur from the University of the Fraser Valley here in British Columbia. They've been creating a course together about Indigenous pedagogies for learners in an adult education undergraduate program. What I found so valuable about this conversation is that even though I don't work in academia anymore, I still learned things about Indigenous ways of knowing and being that I can bring into my work. I think you'll feel the same, so I invite you to join us then for that conversation. Thank you for listening to Facilitating on Purpose. If you were inspired by something in this episode, please share it with a friend or a colleague to help them expand their facilitation practice too. To find the show notes, give me feedback, or submit ideas for future episodes, visit facilitatingonpurpose.com. Special thanks to Mary Chan at Organized Sound Productions for producing this episode. Happy facilitating!